Do you want to know what is a scam? A scam is having the Bible translated into Swahili, Yoruba, Igbo, Zulu, and every other African language, but having 0 scientific books translated into a single African language. That is a conspiracy, that is a trap, and that's a scam. Someone who can be scammed with the same trick over and over again for decades upon decades is considered a fool, and their gullibility and lack of critical thinking make them willing participants in their own destruction. I have walked into different libraries, and I have seen university science books translated into Chinese, Russian, Portuguese, Arabic, and so forth. I have seen Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill translated into French. I have seen the Japanese version of A Man's Search for Meaning. I have seen the Spanish version of Alchemist. I have seen the Arabic version of The Art of War. All these books, I have seen them in various languages, but none in any African language. An African child is sent to Arabic school just to learn Arabic, so that he can read the word of her supposed creator, while the Arab prays and learn in their own language. African child learns and pray in other languages. You will find churches in Africa where the English became preacher would have a native translator next to them doing the translation. Here's where the scam comes. And you will never find a school in Africa where the teacher will have a translator next to them to translate chemistry, physics, mathematics, geography, economics to the students. I have seen many science books translate into various languages, but none in any African language. The Chinese are taught mathematics in Chinese. The Japanese are taught engineering in Japanese. They are all taught finance, chemistry, astrophysics, accounting, medicine, geology, government in their languages. The only book that Africans have had in their languages is the Bible and Quran. The only time Africans have something translated them to in their language is in a church and mosque. The black African wretched of the earth is the only member of the human race who has been brainwashed to think that his ancestors bequeathed him with a curse that has prevented him from attaining his goal and desires. Almost every misfortune he encounters on earth is the fault of some ancestors who must be bound and cast in the fire of the Holy Ghost. The white people don't have terrible ancestors. The Arab that enslaved Africans for 700 years don't have wicked ancestors. No member of humans race has wicked ancestors who have done terrible things. No, it's only the black Africans. Black Africans are the only member of human race that will sit down, write a movie script to mock or belittle his or her heritage, In Western world, Xmas is the biggest festival. Christmas stemmed from both the Roman paganism and Roman cultures. The biggest festival in Arab world is Eid al-Fitr. The biggest festival in Israel is Pesach. The biggest festival in China is Spring Festival. Festival of Light is the biggest festival in India. Black people are probably the only human species on planet Earth that helps other race celebrate their own festivals, but nobody celebrates theirs with them. They generally believe their own ways are inferior. Therefore, it's hard for them to evolve the beautiful things their ancestors left. He belittled the ancestors who gave him life. The continent is the only continent where Christianity and Islam concept of a God is shared equally. Even though both preach peace and love, yet there is no peace and love. When an African man is not praying to a foreign God, he will be treating himself in a foreign hospital, or visiting another man's country for religious purposes, or praying to his own creator in Arabic. He calls another man's history holy book, just because they told him to ask him, what is holy about the book? It's an abomination for him to see the world through his own culture. Slaves weren't allowed to do that. He steals money from his land to keep in a foreign land. His God and his country was created for him. No wonder nobody respects him. The black man is roaming around the world like a tortoise without a shell. He has no backbone, zero identity. No one respects him. He is lynched in Malaysia, incarcerated in Cambodia. He is shot like a dog in the streets of America. Not until we all free our minds from mental slavery, we will be wretched of the world. Welcome to Clarity Revolution. Subscribe to our...
One more thing! Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thin. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Yeah. One love, what about the...
Hey, good afternoon, fellow Nigerians, fellow Africans from within Africa and around the world. This is Smart Madu Ajaja, the anchor of Nigeria Now at ONN and the Nightingale Radio International. Great, bright summer day here in Houston. How is it wherever you are? I hope you are all managing to do good, especially our brothers and sisters in Africa, and Africa under siege right now with no sense of direction. Where do we go from here? Well, the blast, the rumor, the plan for war, the invasion, the planned invasion of Niger has rented the air globally. Where do we go from here? Africa, Africans, are you ready for this? Are you willing to unite? Are you willing to unite? You've been robbed for all your lives, over 1,000 years. 1, slavery. 2, colonialism. 3, apartheid. Now, globalization. And in all of this, the African people and their continent have been the victims. When are we going to stand up for ourselves and our rights and assert our citizenship of the world, where we were the first? Africa, where are we going with the look of things right now unfolding in Niger, a mineral-rich Niger, but with one of the poorest peoples on the surface of this earth. Niger has the uranium that is lighting up the whole of Europe, especially France, that was its colonial. I don't want to phantom it. That little France, with such power, enormous power in Africa. Something got to give. Something got to give. And whatever has to give, must give. With the realization of the African people that they have been under siege, from which they must free themselves. Hear what Steve Biko had to say. Steve Biko was a freedom fighter, a South African freedom fighter who died in the struggle. He said, the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. You wonder why I played that first clip about what happened to the minds of Africans. The invaders from the Arabia and from Europe came with the 2 books in their hands. They called one the Quran. They called the other one the Bible. I don't have any problem with that, but I have a huge problem with the fact that they used these 2 books to rob our people, to rob our forefathers, to rob our ancestors. They came with these 2 good books, but with lies in their mouths. They didn't practice what was in those 2 books. They used these 2 books to repress our people. And why they were lying to them, they were digging their minerals from below their feet. And that is so sad. And this is the reason why we must rethink Africa. Why we must start asking questions. That why these 2 books is working for them, but it's not working for us. The words in these 2 great books have been used to silence us, to repress us, to oppress us, to steal our mind. And that is the reason why this quote from Steve Biko of blessed memory is very, very important, so potent, and something that we must introspect on. I say it again, the most potent weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of our people. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the people. We lost our mind. Africa lost its moral compass. We forgot about who we were. We saw these two gospels. We saw these two great books before any other person saw it. They stole it, politicized it, put economics into them, and brought them back to Africa to enslave, repress, oppress, and exploit Africa and the African people. Now we've seen the light. Are we going to stand up for our rights? The same people who teach us about fundamental human rights that they never gave us. They set aside the fundamental human rights to come to Africa to enshackle people, created them, and transported them under the most inhuman and inhumane conditions. Scattered them around the world, brought them to America, kept some in Europe, and we are aware that there are some in India. Everywhere you go, it's a black man. And wherever you find them, they are mostly at the bottom of the ladder. What happened to our mind? And then they came and they said they granted us the Greek gift called independence. But our independence is as good as slavery, encapsulated in poverty. Otherwise, why would Imperial Europe want to come to Africa, establishing military bases across the continent with which they blackmail and intimidate us? Who made them? The gods of the earth that we must obey. They create puppets around the continent and call them our leaders. The same people who blame us that we are not able to hold our leaders accountable are the ones who will bring fighter jets, who will fly in armored tanks, who will bring M35s to invade a sovereign country, a supposed sovereign country, for rising to the occasion of holding their leaders accountable. For the sake of one man, you want to wreck a whole country. You want to destroy a whole sub-region. You want to destroy a whole continent. Come on. Something is not right. And then they find tools like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the man who set the constitution of Nigeria aside to coronate himself against the wish of the people, the president of Nigeria. These same people who are so good about enforcing democracy and democratic ideals across Africa did not see any reason to threaten or to make bold statements about asking Bola Ahmed Tinubu to stand aside. If they could not invade Nigeria for violating their democratic tenets, on what moral platform are they going to stand to invade Niger? And that is the reason why it is most important for them to think before they strike. These same people with their big military bases in the West African sub-region, we have the African, we have the one by the French people all over the continent. Boko Haram, has been having feed days in the past nearly 20 years. And the reason they said they established their military installation is to monitor the region, to ensure that the region is not destabilized by terrorists. But what we know about those who fund terrorism. We know that France is the chief sponsor of Boko Haram in West Africa. Now, one of their vendors was taken out. One of their links to Boko Haram has been taken out. And now, the flow of uranium to France is threatened. Now, France is throwing fits, mobilizing its European allies, including the United States. They want to bomb the hell, intimidate, blackmail, and repress the people into accepting back what they have rejected. How fair these people are. How fair. How fair. This selective action is what is bringing a lot of discord around the world. And now, this whole thing is going to elicit a wide range action. The area is already destabilized. No thanks to their activities. They steal the uranium in Niger, like they were stealing the gold in Mali before Mali stood up and said, we have had enough. How are they going to win this? By destabilizing the entire continent and then giving Boko Haram the feed day to do more mayhem, especially in Nigeria. Is this a plot to really wreck Nigeria and weaken it, make the people vulnerable for a second colonization of Africa? Now, if you are an African leader involved in this, before the first shot is fired, think through your actions. If you truly care about your people, think about how this invasion will impact lives, how it will impact healthcare, the humanitarian crisis that will come out of it. Think about Libya in recent times. Think about Iraq and what happened. Every time they go into a place, they destroy it and they leave the people worse off. Look at what is happening in Libya. And take a cue. The destabilization of Libya left many free-flowing terrorists in the space in the Sahel. They cannot fight these terrorists. It is only those who are from there, who understand the terrain, that can fight them. If it is not something else that they are looking for, I don't know the reason Boko Haram had not been defeated. Boko Haram that is being fought by militaries from the United States, from France, from Nigeria, from everywhere. And Boko Haram is still destroying villages, killing people across Nigeria, unchallenged. Then we need to ask these questions. What is the motive for all these forces in Africa? What do they represent? What use are they to the countries and the people of Africa? Young Africans are migrating in droves across the Mediterranean. Tons of them have died. And those who manage to escape into Italy end up in concentration camps. I mean, people from Africa, people from countries that have enormous mineral and natural resources, running away from countries that have been turned into hell by European forces and their puppets in Africa. You don't treat us well wherever we find ourselves. But you have contributed to making our countries hell. Why can't you leave us alone? Why can't Africa be left alone to solve its problem? Your interventions have not helped any matter. They have not helped stabilize any country. They have made their situations worse. Why can't we take charge? Why can't African Union be like the European Union? I don't see them inviting Africans to help solve their problems. They only invite Africans to make case for why they should be given aid, especially from what they stole from the African continent. What use is this partnership if they continue to treat us as vassals, as beggars, as slaves, and as subservients? Why can't Africa take a decisive step? Why can't Africa look at itself in its face? Why can't African leaders come together and decide that they have had enough? Why are they so quick to accepting the roles of puppets and subservients? Africans, young Africans especially, this moment is yours. We must end this assault. We must stop this slavery. They organize elections in our countries, but we are never allowed to choose those we believe that can lead us. And this same Imperial Europe will come and make tepid statements. Sometimes they will come and say outright that the election was free and fair. Was the election in Nigeria free and fair? Has any election held in Africa, especially in the ECOWAS sub-region that I know something about, has there been any free and fair elections? The ECOWAS that cannot fund its activities, waiting for imperial aid stolen from things that were stolen from Africa to support your programs at home. And you expect to be free? And you expect your people to be free? He who pays the pipers dictates the tune. That is the type of relationship Africa has had with Imperial Europe against the vision and dreams of our founding fathers, who will be spinning in their graves right now and bleeding profusely, looking at what those they left behind as leaders are doing to Africa. This is sad. This is sad. What can we do? Africans. What can we do? Africans. What can we do? The young people of Africa. Where are you? The young people of Nigeria. Over 173 million of you. What are you doing? The young people in Mali have taken their destiny in their hands. The young people in Burkina Faso have taken their destiny in their hands. The people of Niger now, amid their suffering, are taking their destiny in their hands. Young Nigerians, what are you doing? The drug dealer that forced himself onto the presidency of your country is about to make your case worse. Are you going to stand aloof and wait while he does it for his slave masters? A man who has no mind of his own, a man who is constantly under the influence of drugs, leading Nigeria, and we all kept quiet. Where's Wale Soyinka? We don't hear from you anymore. We don't hear anything from you anymore. So this is the best you could do. Nobel laureate, where are you? Now you are silent. You are silent. Before now, we were hearing so much about you. If it was someone else, you would have gone haywire. Now you are silent. At nearly 90 years old, is this how you are going to end it? So you cannot speak the truth anymore. Wale Soyinka, where are you? Where are all those who came to land light in the name of activism in Nigeria? Where are all of you? Sad. We can't go anywhere with this. This young generation of Nigerians, you must decide what you want. You must decide your destiny. Otherwise, this logjam will continue. We must go now and wake up. Get ready to rise up. Make sure that what we have been telling you, because they have all come to pass. You are seeing them. Your present and your future are in danger. What can you do to save you? It is only you who can save yourselves now. The Nigerian judiciary, you have a moment of history before you. The world is waiting to hear your pronouncement. Are you going to put power in the hands of a drug dealer, a crackhead, who doesn't think before he acts, and then plunge your country? Look at the proximity to Niger. Plunge your country into further darkness because of either your fear or your corruption, because you may have collected money from him. This is a man who bought everything that needed to be bought. Nigerians are not asking questions. Where did he get those money from? And how do you think that he will not take all the money times 3 that he invested in this, what is supposed to be a dead on arrival ambition? Nigerians, yes, the target right now may be Niger. But if you are looking at what is happening in Sudan, you will understand that this whole thing is becoming too close for comfort. And for all of us to decisively reach a consensus about the direction we want our country to go. This is a call on your conscience. Yes, the target right now is the uranium in Niger, and not about the people of Niger. France does not care about Niger. The European Union does not care about Niger. Those who are coming from America with their companies in Niger don't care about Niger. It is about that uranium. It's about economics. It's not about the good of the people of Niger. It's not about their education. It's not about their healthcare. It's not about anything but economics. It's economics. Even the Chinese involvement, the Russian involvement is all driven by economics. Africa, you need to take charge. Since they say we cannot vote and our votes cannot count, the African people are taking a different course of action. So why are some people so angry? Who made you a standard over us? Your democracy is obviously not working in Africa. Africa needs to find its moral compass. Africa needs to redefine itself. and do things that will work for her and her people. That is what we want right now. We are not aiming to be Britain. We are not aiming to be America. We are not aiming to be Germany. We want to be Africa. We want to be Africa. We want Africa to fashion out what we work. Everything that we did with you, with your involvement, has never worked because it made us become copycats. And copycats can never be original cats. You succeeded when you looked inwardly and decided to work strictly on what will benefit your people. I speak to America. I speak to America where I live. I speak to you, United States, that are supposed to be a beacon of hope for the people of the world. Your leaders are veering off mark. They want to destroy America. They want to destroy the entire world because of the greed of its drivers. The American people, you need to call your leaders to order. Wake up, especially for Joe Biden, who is facing an election next year with millions of Africans who are US citizens. You think you will win their votes by taking your ammunition to your fighter jets to support evil in Niger? Your actions will not be justified. And it could have a lasting consequence on how the 2024 election will unfold, especially for Joe Biden, who is running as president. The African people who live here have consistently voted for the Democrats. But look at what Obama did in Libya. Left the Libya and Libyan people in hell. And you want to worsen it? Niger shares a border with an already destabilized Libya. So your love for Africa is for you to leave a den of terrorists to destroy the entire place, take over the entire space. Is that love? How much of democracy will they get when they are dying? The United States, you need to look at yourself. Joe Biden, you need to look at yourselves. Stop issuing all those threats. If you want justice in Africa, we expect you to toe the line of diplomacy. Find out why Bazoum was removed, as if you don't know already. How can we have a democracy that does not benefit our people? And then we want to maintain that status quo because it's democratic. Democratic in hunger, poverty, and death, worsened by indiscriminate assault by terrorists in the region, and nobody is doing anything. Nigeria has become weak. The military is no longer military. Everything is falling apart for the country. I would think that that's the type of support you support. Institutionalized good government, good governance, driven by people who have minds of their own, and not a drug dealer that you know that was convicted in your own country, United States of America. America, look at yourself. Bola Tinubu was convicted. He paid back restitution of nearly $500,000. United States know it. It's in your Department of Justice. Because you are driven by interest, you are supporting that same man to continue the legacy of a terrorist, Muhammadu Buhari. The man that Boko Haram nominated as its spokesman, as its negotiator. United States, don't fall our hands. We love you. Don't do this. Stop and think. Get your leaders together and ask questions about Africa. Perhaps there are things you don't know. You cannot be projecting the type of democracy that is killing the majority of our people, and you expect us to give you thumb up. Enough is enough. If you truly love Africa, beyond rhetoric, you must do right with Africa. You must start with Nigeria. Nigeria has a rogue who forced his way to the presidency of Nigeria. And that is a coup. And that's how the Nigerian people feel. The sad thing is that why we are not seeing what is happening in other countries when things like this happen is because Nigerians have become cowards. They have been so intimidated, they have been so bastardized, they have been so messed up that they can't rise up for anything anymore. They have become so divided by those things. They have given up. The Nigerian people have given up. They believe that God will come down and do everything. Sometimes they expect America to come down. America that has a lot of problems at home will come down and do change their government for them or make them do right. It's not happening. So that is a sad thing in Nigeria. I am surprised. I'm really very proud of the Nigerians who stood up and are still standing in their millions to advance the cause of change in their country. United States, you have a lot of Nigerians here. Invite them to speak to them, to ask them questions about the true position of what is taking place in their country. So you learn firsthand from the voices of those people on the ground and not fake government officials who will tell you what you want to hear. And you say there's democracy in Nigeria. Now there's darkness in Nigeria. There's no democracy. The situation in Nigeria is worse than what you describe in North Korea. I am telling you, I'm a Nigerian living here. The situation in Nigeria is far worse than what you make the world believe about what is happening in North Korea. Because you are interfacing with the wrong people whom you believe. I hope this message gets to you. We are tired of this imperial double standard. Treat us as with respect. Treat us as equal. Treat us with dignity. And we'll get the best of relationship. And the world will be most peaceful and most just for it. Our people will be able to interact and interface together for the greater good of the world. It's time. Now to you Africans at home, to you mostly fake leaders in Africa, I tell you, most of you, your times are up. You don't understand what is taking place now. In your countries, rebellion is brewing. Huge rebellion is brewing across Africa. And it's going to be a tsunami that your armies cannot stop, that your imperial masters cannot stop, because they will be tired when it starts, just as it has started. If you think it's a joke, keep on mistreating your people, but you wake up like Bazoum one day. You wake up like the ones in Mali. You wake up like the one that was in Burkina Faso. You wake up like the one that was in Guinea to find out how wrong you have been. The moment is now. Africa is supposed to be the richest continent on the surface of this earth, but sadly has the poorest people on earth. That is unfair, and that must not continue. Africans, where you vote, and they don't allow your votes count, like they did not allow it count in Nigeria, rebel. It is your God-given right to choice. The right to choice is one of the basic human rights that includes right to life, right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of association, right to freedom of worship, and right to self-determination. Every man has got the right to decide his destiny. Africa has the right to self-determination without interference from anybody, any company, or any country. And that is what is about to start. And it has in fact started. And no army will stop it. No army will stop it. America took that decision at a time in its life to severe link with Imperial Britain. And once they did that, America grew to become a superpower on earth. So why will America be part of anything that will hurt the march of Africa out of poverty and bad leadership? Have a good day. We thank all our brothers and sisters and those who love Africa from across the world who have been pouring out and supporting the people of Niger one small way or the other. Please don't let these people currently in darkness alone, that their good will overcome evil at the end of the day. Good night and have a great evening. Bye-bye.
One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thin. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Yeah. One love. What about the
one day some great opportunity stands before you and calls upon you to stand up for some great principle, some great issue, some great cause. And you refuse to do it because you are afraid. You refuse to do it because you want to live longer. You're afraid that you will lose your job, or you're afraid that you will be criticized, or that you will lose your popularity. Are you afraid that somebody will stab you, or shoot at you, or bomb your house? And so you refuse to take the stand. Well, you may go on and live until you are 90, but you're just as dead at 38 as you would be at 90. And the cessation of breathing in your life is but the belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. You died when you refused to stand up for right. You died when you refused to stand up for truth. You died when you refused to stand up for justice.
One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thin. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Yeah. One love. What about the
in the Electoral Act that we passed,
Open Nigeria, Open Nigeria, Open Nigeria. Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Fún lọ síwájú Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Kádìbò fẹ́ni tó tọ́. Open Nàìjíríà. Ẹni tó tọ́ tó lè bá wa ṣe. Open Nàìjíríà. Kò sí náà kó lè dohun ìtàn. Open Nàìjíríà. Smart Àjàjà ń gbìyànjú o. Open Nàìjíríà. Kí gbogbo wa ó gbé lárugẹ. Open Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Open Nàìjíríà. Ká má wo tiwa, ká má wo tẹ̀yà o. Open Nàìjíríà. Ká má wo tẹ̀sìn, ká má wo tẹ̀lẹ́yàmẹ̀yà o. Open Nàìjíríà. Ẹ dìbò ẹ ṣe bẹ̀ kó dópin. Open Nàìjíríà. Nàìjíríà yóò ṣe dìde o.
soldiers, let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thin. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Say it. One love. What about the
Febreze. Your bathroom needs Febreze small spaces. The always-on odor-fighting air freshener you set and forget. No outlets used, no batteries needed, no effort required. So your bathroom stays continuously fresh for 45 days. That's the power of Febreze small spaces.
Yeah, we can make it work. We can make it work. Every time. So we better get up, stand up for your rise. Or someone would say we're coming in from the cold. Or another one would say sun is shining and the weather is sweet. And someone would say is this love. And everyone would say everything. Let's move it. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. There's something, get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Hey, preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not hard and bitter is told. Half the story has never been told. And now you see the light. Stand up for your right. Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. You see, most people think great God will come from the sky. Take away everything, make everybody feel high. Hey, but if you know what life is worth, you would look at yours on earth. And now you see the light. You stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. In the morning, stand up for your right. In the night, get up, stand up. And don't give up the fight. Yeah. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. 'Cause we're sick and tired of the kissing. Trying to come heaven and the kissing. We know we understand. A mighty God is the living man. And you can fool some people sometimes. But you can't fool all the people all the time. And now you see the light. You stand up for your rights. Yeah. Get up, stand up. Yeah. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Yeah. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Yeah. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Why? 'Cause I never give up the fight. 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 So don't give up the fight. Don't Children, don't give up the fight. 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 Cause I never give up the fight. 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 We're sick and tired of the schism. Dying for the heaven and the schism. We know and we understand. Almighty God is a living man. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now you see the light. You stand up for your right.
Rastafari, tribute to Robin Hester Marley, Terence Selassie. Jakasunit kunyula kwer, misalu korompe. Batak na faramba, farno pututi, deklu marle. Sumera jutai nyakagi skor fal male. Wanda yala togalam nanyunang udon jama. Hey, ona tu stonaka tibok male. Play some music, it's a reggae music. Iron, like a lion in Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. Woyoy.